The German Shepherd's scream tore through the airport terminal like a siren, raw, primal, desperate. Travelers stumbled backward, luggage forgotten, as Titan launched himself toward the blue suitcase circling the baggage carousel. His teeth bared, his body rigid with an intensity that sent ice through Detective Marcus Fall's veins. "Clear the area." Officer Langford's voice cracked with panic. "Bomb threat. Everyone back, now." The carousel groaned to a halt. 200 passengers pressed against the walls, parents clutching children, phones raised, recording what they believed would be their final moments. But Marcus couldn't move. He watched Titan's amber eyes, and saw something that made his blood run cold. Not aggression. Not a threat response. Terror. The dog pressed his nose against the fabric, whining with a sound Marcus had never heard in 6 years of partnership. Titan's massive body trembled, his paw scratching frantically at the zipper. "Bomb squad is 3 minutes out," Langford barked into his radio. "Perimeter secure." "No." Marcus's voice cut through the chaos like a blade. Langford spun. "Detective, protocol demands." "Look at him." Marcus pointed at Titan, whose whine had risen to something between a howl and a sob. "That's not bomb behavior. That's not a threat alert. He's begging us." Dr. Lillian Carr rushed forward, her portable scanner humming as she swept it over the suitcase. The screen flickered green, green, green. No metals. No electronics. No detonators. "Then what the hell is he reacting to?" Langford demanded. The scanner beeped once. Twice. "Biological signature," Dr. Carr whispered, her face draining of color. "Body temperature. Critically low. Marcus, there's something alive in there." The terminal fell silent except for Titan's desperate scratching. Marcus dropped to his knees beside his partner, gripping the dog's collar. Titan's eyes locked onto his pleading, frantic, refusing to accept delay. "If there's a child in there," Marcus said, his voice barely steady, "every second we wait." He didn't finish. "You didn't have to." Officer Jenna Pierce snapped on gloves, her hands shaking as she knelt beside the suitcase. "Protective positions. Everyone is ready." The zipper sounded like thunder in the silence. Marcus held his breath as Jenna peeled back the fabric, and his world stopped. A tiny hand. Well, motionless. "Oh God," Jenna breathed. "It's a baby." The suitcase fell fully open, and there she was, a toddler no more than 2 years old, wrapped in a pink blanket dotted with flowers. Her lips were blue. Her chest rose in shallow, desperate gasps that barely registered as breathing. "Medic." Langford's voice shattered the frozen moment. "Get a medic now." But Titan was already there, nudging the blanket with his nose, whining softly as if willing the child to open her eyes. His body positioned itself between her and the world, a shield, a guardian, a protector who had known from the first second that this fragile life was slipping away. Paramedic Leo rushed forward, fingers searching for a pulse. "Hypothermic. Severe. Pulse thready. We need transport immediately." Dr. Carr worked quickly, wrapping heated blankets around the child while Leo fitted an oxygen mask over her tiny face. But through it all, Titan never moved. His amber eyes tracked every hand that touched her, every movement, as if his vigilance alone could anchor her to life. "Who does this?" Jenna whispered, tears streaming down her face. "Who puts a baby in a suitcase?" Marcus rose slowly, his detective's mind already shifting into gear even as his heart threatened to crack. He pulled out his radio, voice cold and controlled. "I need security footage from the last 2 hours. Every camera near baggage claim. Someone dropped this suitcase and they're still in this airport." As the paramedics lifted the toddler onto a stretcher, Titan lunged forward, nearly breaking free from Marcus's grip. "Easy, boy," Marcus said softly. "We're not done. Not until we find who did this." The dog's growl was low, lethal. The desperation in his eyes had transformed into something else entirely. Rage. And Detective Marcus Fall knew one thing with absolute certainty. Whoever had sealed a child in a suitcase and abandoned her to die was about to discover what happened when you made an enemy of Titan. Officer Daniels burst into the security room, fingers flying across the keyboard. Footage pulled from cameras 7 through 12. Scanning for anyone who approached Carousel B in the last 90 minutes. Marcus leaned over his shoulder, Titan pressed against his leg, still trembling with protective fury. There. Daniels froze the frame. 23 minutes ago. Female mid-30s, hoodie, nervous movements. Watch her hands, she's shaking. The woman glanced over her shoulder repeatedly, face partially visible under the hood. Sharp features. Wild eyes. The kind of desperation that comes from someone who knows they've crossed a line they can never uncross. Marcus's jaw tightened. Zoom in on her face. The image sharpened. And Marcus felt the floor drop out from under him. Rebecca Clark, he said quietly. Emily Parker's sister. Jenna looked up sharply. The custody dispute from 6 months ago? She lost parental rights. History of unstable behavior, threats, obsessive calls. Marcus's fists clenched. She didn't just take any child. She took her own niece. Titan's growl deepened, his nose pressed against the monitor as if he could smell Rebecca's betrayal through the screen. Pull up current location tracking, Marcus ordered. She can't have gone far. Not without transportation. Daniels typed rapidly. No vehicle registered to her in the parking system. But wait. Facial recognition just pinged her. Level 3 parking garage. 30 seconds ago. Marcus grabbed his jacket, already moving. Jenna Langford, with me. Titan track. The dog surged forward, his earlier desperation replaced by laser focus. The hunt had begun. And Rebecca Clark was about to learn that some dogs don't just save lives. They demand justice. Before we continue, I'd love to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Drop your location in the comments. It's incredible to see how far these stories of courage and loyalty travel. And if this opening grabbed you, hit that like button and follow for more heart-stopping true stories. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. Now back to the hunt. The paramedics worked with controlled chaos, hands moving in practiced rhythm, but Marcus could see the fear in their eyes. Lily's chest barely rose beneath the oxygen mask, each breath so shallow it looked like surrender. Core temperature is 89 degrees, Leo called out, wrapping another heated blanket around her tiny frame. We're losing her. Titan lunged forward with a sound that wasn't a bark, it was a plea. Marcus caught his collar just in time, feeling his partner's entire body vibrate with the need to protect, to fix, to refuse what everyone else in that terminal was beginning to accept. Easy, buddy, Marcus whispered, his voice cracking. Let them work. But Titan wouldn't look away. His amber eyes stayed locked on Lily's face, watching for something the humans couldn't see. Marcus had seen this focus before, when Titan found a lost hiker buried under snow, when he'd located an elderly woman trapped in a collapsed building. The dog didn't track threats. He tracked heartbeats. And right now, Titan was listening to one that was fading. No pulse. Dr. Carr's voice cut through the murmurs. Starting compressions. The words hit Marcus like a fist. Around them, passengers pressed hands to mouths, strangers clutching each other, a woman sobbing openly into her husband's shoulder. Marcus felt Titan strain against his grip, claws scraping against the tile floor. Come on, sweetheart, Jenna whispered, her fingers trembling as she adjusted the 4-line. Come on. Fight. Leo's hands pressed rhythmically against Lily's chest. 1, 2, 3, 4. Each compression a prayer in motion. Dr. Carr readied the pediatric defibrillator, her face a mask of professional control that couldn't quite hide the helplessness underneath. And then Titan did something Marcus had never seen in 6 years. The dog threw back his head and howled. Not a police bark. Not an alert. A howl of pure, soul-deep anguish that echoed through the terminal like a funeral song. Passengers froze. Security officers turned. Even Leo paused mid-compression, his eyes widening. Marcus, Jenna started. He knows, Marcus said quietly, tears burning his eyes. He knows she's slipping away. The howl ended, and in the silence that followed, Titan pressed forward until his nose touched Lily's tiny hand. He nudged it once, twice, so gentle it barely moved the blanket. Please, his body seemed to say. Please don't leave. And then so faint Marcus almost missed it, Lily's fingers twitched. Wait, Dr. Carr breathed. Wait, I've got a pulse. Leo's hand stilled. Confirm? Confirmed. 42 BPM. Weak but climbing. Titan's tail gave a single, trembling wag. Jenna laughed a broken, relieved sound and wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. She's coming back. Oh God, she's coming back. Marcus dropped to his knees beside Titan, gripping his partner's fur with shaking hands. You didn't let her go, he whispered into the dog's ear. You wouldn't let her go. As they loaded Lily onto the stretcher, Titan walked beside it like a shadow, his focus never wavering. Every few steps, he'd nudge her hand again as if checking, as if reminding her that someone was still fighting for her. Transport to Children's Memorial, Leo called out. Move, move, move. The crowd parted like water, and as the paramedics rushed toward the ambulance bay, Marcus heard whispers rippling through the terminal. Did you see the dog? He brought her back. That dog saved her life. Marcus watched them disappear through the doors, Titan's silhouette visible until the very last second. If you've ever seen love that refuses to quit, type hero in the comments. And if you're holding your breath right now, trust me, you're not alone. Hit that follow button because this story is just beginning, and what happens next will restore your faith and loyalty. But Marcus couldn't celebrate yet. Lily was alive barely. And somewhere in this airport, the woman who'd tried to steal that life was still running. Daniels, Marcus said into his radio, his voice cold and hard. Where's Rebecca Clark? Parking garage level 3. Titan's target is waiting. Marcus's jaw tightened. Then let's go finish this. We need to move her now. Leo shouted, securing the straps across Lily's chest as the stretcher wheels locked into place. The ambulance was waiting at the emergency bay, engine running, lights painting the terminal walls in frantic red and blue. But Titan wouldn't move. The German shepherd planted himself beside the stretcher, his body pressed against the metal frame like he was part of the equipment. When Leo tried to push the stretcher forward, Titan moved with it, his paws matching the rhythm of the wheels, his eyes never leaving Lily's pale face. Marcus, we need to go, Jenna urged, glancing at the monitors. Her vitals are stabilizing, but she's not out of danger. Marcus reached for Titan's collar. Come on, buddy. Let them do their job. Titan's head swiveled toward him and Marcus froze. The look in those amber eyes wasn't defiance. It was terror. Pure, raw terror that if he stepped away, even for a second, this fragile life would slip through his paws like water. He thinks she'll die if he leaves, Dr. Carr said softly, her voice thick with emotion. He's bonded to her. In 5 minutes? Jenna whispered. In 5 seconds, Marcus corrected. That's who he is. Leo knelt beside Titan, his paramedic instincts warring with something deeper. Listen, boy, I promise we'll take care of her. I swear it. Titan whined, a sound so heartbroken it made passengers 30 feet away turn and stare. His nose nudged Lily's tiny hand again, the one with the 4-line taped across her paper-thin skin. Her fingers twitched in response, and Titan's ears perked forward like he'd heard a voice only he could understand. Stay with me, he seemed to say. I won't leave you. Not ever. We don't have time for this, Officer Langford said, stepping forward. Detective, control your dog. Marcus's hand shot out, stopping Langford in his tracks. If you think I'm pulling him away from her, you don't know a damn thing about loyalty. The words hung in the air like a challenge. Jenna looked at Leo, then at Dr. Carr. Some unspoken understanding passed between them. Can dogs ride in ambulances? She asked quietly. Leo hesitated. Not protocol. But... He looked down at Titan, at the way the dog's body trembled with protective instinct. Screw protocol. He's coming. Marcus felt something crack open in his chest. Relief, gratitude, pride. You hear that, Titan? He said, his voice rough. You get to stay with her. The dog's tail wagged once, but his focus never wavered from Lily's face. They moved as a unit, paramedics, stretcher, and one German shepherd who refused to accept that his job was done. As they pushed through the terminal doors into the cold night air, Titan walked beside Lily's head, his breath creating small clouds of mist that drifted over her like a blessing. Body temp is rising, Dr. Carr called out, checking the portable monitor. 92 degrees. Respiration's improving. Titan's ears swiveled toward the sound, processing the medical jargon like he understood every word. When they reached the ambulance, Leo lifted the stretcher, and for one terrible moment Titan couldn't follow. The height was too great, the gap too wide. The dog's whine rose to a panic. "Wait," Jenna said. She jumped into the ambulance first, then turned and patted the floor. "Come on, Titan. Up." Marcus had never seen his partner hesitate at a command. But Titan wasn't a police dog in that moment. He was something older, something primal. A guardian angel in fur, terrified of failing the one soul he'd sworn to protect. "You can do this," Marcus said, his hand on Titan's back. "She needs you. Go." Titan leaped. He landed beside the stretcher with perfect precision, immediately positioning himself so his head rested near Lily's shoulder. His breathing synchronized with hers, in and out, like he was willing his strength into her tiny body. "I've never seen anything like this," Leo whispered, securing the back doors. "Not in 15 years. Marcus stood in the parking lot, watching the ambulance pull away, red lights disappearing into the darkness. He could still see Titan's silhouette through the rear window, alert, watchful, unmoving. If you've ever loved someone so much you'd refuse to leave their side, drop a paw prints in the comments. And if this dog's devotion is breaking your heart as much as it's breaking mine, hit that subscribe button. Because what Titan does next will remind you what true loyalty looks like. Marcus wiped his eyes with the back of his hand and turned toward the parking garage. Lily was safe. For now. But Rebecca Clark was still out there. And it was time to finish what Titan had started. The security room hummed with the sound of servers and surveillance monitors. 20 screens displaying every corner of the airport in cold, clinical precision. Marcus slammed through the door, his jaw tight, his hands still shaking from watching Titan leap into that ambulance. "Pull up everything," he ordered. "Every camera angle from the past 2 hours. Someone carried that suitcase. Someone zipped a baby inside and walked away." Officer Daniels was already typing, his fingers flying across the keyboard with the desperation of a man who just watched paramedics fight for a toddler's life. Carousel B baggage claim. Starting at 1400 hours. The screens flickered to life, a dozen angles of passengers milling about, dragging luggage, checking phones, living their ordinary lives while a child suffocated 50 feet away. Marcus leaned forward, his eyes scanning each frame with the intensity of a predator. "There. Rewind that. Camera 7. Daniels reversed the footage. "What am I looking for? Someone who doesn't belong." The timestamp rolled backward. 1447, 1438, 1422. Then Marcus saw her. Stop. Right there. A woman in a dark hoodie emerged from the crowd, pulling a blue suitcase behind her. But it wasn't the suitcase that made Marcus's blood run cold, it was the way she moved. Jerky. Frantic. Her head swiveling left and right like a cornered animal. Her hands gripped the suitcase handle so tightly her knuckles were white even on the grainy footage. "Zoom in on her face," Marcus said quietly. Daniels enhanced the image. For one brief moment, the woman glanced up at the camera, and Marcus felt his stomach drop. Her eyes were wild. Hollow. The kind of eyes that belonged to someone who'd already convinced themselves that what they were doing was justified. Necessary. Right. "She's talking to herself," Daniels whispered, adjusting the audio feed. Static crackled through the speakers, then, barely audible, a voice. "She'll understand, she'll love me, she has to love me." Marcus's fists clenched. "She thinks she's saving the child." The woman stopped at the carousel, her body blocking the suitcase from view. Her hands trembled as she lifted it onto the belt, but she didn't let go immediately. For 5 seconds, maybe 10, she just stood there, fingers pressed against the blue fabric like she was saying goodbye. Or asking for forgiveness. "Did you see that?" Daniels breathed. "She's crying." Tears streamed down the woman's face as she released the suitcase, watching it disappear into the mechanical maze of the baggage system. Her lips moved silently, forming words the camera couldn't capture. Then she turned and walked away, shoulders hunched, hands shoved deep into her pockets. Follow her, Marcus ordered. Every camera. I want to know where she went. The screens shifted, camera 8, camera 12, camera 15. The woman moved through the terminal like a ghost, avoiding eye contact, hugging the walls. At one point she stopped in front of a family, a mother holding a toddler, and just stared. The mother noticed, pulling her child closer, and the woman in the hoodie flinched like she'd been struck. She wanted that, Marcus said, his voice barely above a whisper. She wanted what she could never have. Daniels pulled up another angle. She's heading toward parking. Level 3. But Marcus, she keeps looking back. Every 20 steps, she looks back toward baggage claim. Because she knows what she did, Marcus said. And part of her is praying someone finds that suitcase before it's too late. The final camera showed the woman disappearing into the stairwell leading to the parking garage. The timestamp read 14:51, 4 minutes before Titan started screaming. Run facial recognition, Marcus commanded. I need a name. The computer processed, algorithms comparing bone structure, eye distance, facial geometry. 3 seconds. 5 seconds. Then a profile appeared on the screen. Rebecca Clark. Age 34. Last known address, Seattle, Washington. Criminal history, harassment, trespassing, violation of restraining order. And below that, one line that made everything click into place. Sister to Emily Parker. Aunt to Lillian Parker, age 2. Marcus felt something cold settle in his chest. She took her own niece. Daniels pulled up additional records, court documents, psychiatric evaluations, a restraining order filed 8 months ago. Says here she tried to take custody. Judge denied. History of unstable behavior, obsessive attachment to the child. And when she couldn't have Lily legally, Marcus finished, she decided to take her anyway. If you've ever seen obsession destroy someone from the inside out, type justice in the comments. And if you're feeling that rage building, that need to see this woman face what she's done, you're not alone. Hit subscribe because the confrontation you're waiting for is coming, and it's going to be devastating. Marcus grabbed his radio. All units, suspect identified. Rebecca Clark, Caucasian female, mid-30s, last seen entering level 3 parking. Consider her dangerous and emotionally unstable. He turned to Daniels. Where's Titan? En route to Children's Memorial with the child. Marcus shook his head. Then I'm doing this without him. He checked his weapon, his face hard as stone. Rebecca Clark wanted a second chance. She's about to learn that some choices don't get one. Pull up everything on Rebecca Clark, Marcus said, his voice tight. I need to know who we're dealing with. Danielle's fingers flew across the keyboard, and the monitors filled with documents. Court filings, police reports, psychiatric evaluations. Each one a breadcrumb trail leading deeper into a woman's unraveling. First report is from 3 years ago, Daniels read. Emily Parker filed a complaint. Says her sister Rebecca showed up at her house unannounced, tried to take Lily from her crib while Emily was in the shower. Marcus's jaw tightened. What happened? Emily confronted her. Rebecca broke down, said she just wanted to hold her niece. Said she felt empty. Daniel scrolled down. Emily didn't press charges. Family mediation was recommended. But it didn't stop there, Marcus said quietly. No. Daniels pulled up another report. 6 months later, Rebecca filed for emergency custody. Claimed Emily was an unfit mother. Alleged drug use, neglect, emotional abuse. All lies. Every single one. Danielle's voice hardened. Social services investigated. Found nothing. Emily was clean, home was safe, Lily was healthy and thriving. Judge dismissed the petition with prejudice. Marcus leaned closer to the screen, watching surveillance footage of Rebecca from a year ago, entering a family court building, her face gaunt, her eyes sunken with sleepless desperation. She clutched a folder to her chest like it contained the answer to every prayer she'd ever whispered. That's when it got worse, Daniels continued. Rebecca started showing up at Lily's daycare. 3 times in 1 month. The 3rd time, she tried to sign Lily out under her own name. Jesus, Marcus breathed. Daycare called Emily. Emily called the police. Daniels pulled up the restraining order. Judge issued a no-contact order. Rebecca was forbidden from coming within 500 feet of Emily or Lily. The next document made Marcus's blood run cold, a psychiatric evaluation ordered by the court. "Read it," he said. Daniels cleared his throat. Subject displays signs of obsessive attachment disorder and delusional thinking. Claims that Lily calls to her in dreams. Believes she has a spiritual connection to the child that supersedes biological motherhood. When asked about Emily, subject became agitated, stating that her sister stole her purpose and doesn't deserve the gift she was given. Marcus felt sick. She thinks Lily was meant to be hers. There's more. Danielle's voice dropped. 3 months ago, Rebecca sent Emily a letter. Want to hear it? Marcus nodded, bracing himself. Daniels read from the scanned document, and even through his professional monotone, the words cut like glass. "Dear Emily, I know you think I'm the villain in this story, but I'm not. I'm the one who prayed for that baby before she was even born. I'm the one who held you when you were scared during your pregnancy. I was there first. You got to keep her and I got nothing. Just emptiness. Every day I wake up and feel her absence like a missing limb. You have everything, a daughter, a life, a future, and you don't even appreciate it. You take it for granted. If Lily were mine, I would cherish every breath she took. I would never let her cry. I would never let her feel alone. One day you'll understand that I was trying to save her. From you. From a world that doesn't deserve her. One day you'll thank me. Love, Rebecca." The silence in the security room was suffocating. "She believed every word of that," Marcus said finally. Daniels pulled up one last photo, Rebecca at Emily's house, taken by a neighbor's security camera 2 weeks ago. She stood across the street in the rain just watching. Soaked, shivering, unmoving. Her eyes locked on a lit window where the silhouette of a woman rocked a toddler to sleep. "She's been stalking them," Daniels whispered. "Planning this." Marcus straightened, his face carved from granite. "Where's Emily Parker now?" According to the report, she was in Seattle visiting her mother. Flew out yesterday morning. Which is why Rebecca made her move. Marcus grabbed his jacket. "Call Children's Memorial. Tell them to put security on Lily's room. Rebecca might come back to finish what she started." "You think she'd go to the hospital?" Marcus looked at the photo of Rebecca standing in the rain, her face twisted with longing and fury and heartbreak. "I think she'd burn down the world to get that child," he said quietly. "And right now, she knows she's lost everything. If you've ever watched someone you love spiral into obsession and felt powerless to stop it, comment HRB. And if you're wondering how far desperation can push someone, stay with me. Because what happens next will show you that love, twisted and broken, can become the most dangerous weapon of all." Marcus turned toward the door, his hand resting on his weapon. "Let's end this before anyone else gets hurt." But deep down he knew the real damage had already been done. Not to Lily, not to Emily, but to Rebecca herself. And people with nothing left to lose were the most dangerous kind. Marcus's phone buzzed before he reached the door. Children's Memorial flashed across the screen. "Fall here." "Detective, it's Dr. Carr." Her voice was tight with urgency. "Titan won't let anyone near Lily. The nurses need to run tests, but he's positioned himself between them and the bed. He's not aggressive, just immovable." Marcus closed his eyes. "Put him on speaker." A moment of shuffling, then the ambient sounds of a hospital room, monitors beeping, footsteps in the hallway, and beneath it all, a low, protective growl. "Titan," Marcus said, his voice firm but gentle. "I need you, buddy. Rebecca's still out there. Lily's safe with the doctors, but I can't track her without you. You understand?" The growl stopped. "I need you to do your job now," Marcus continued. "Protect her by helping me catch the person who hurt her. Can you do that?" Through the phone, Marcus heard the distinctive sound of claws on linoleum, then Dr. Carr's voice. "He's backing away from the bed. He's looking at the door like he's waiting for someone." "Tell him I'm coming to get him," Marcus said. 5 minutes. He hung up and turned to Officer Langford. "Get me to that hospital. Now." 7 minutes later, Marcus burst through the doors of Children's Memorial. Titan was already in the lobby, pacing, his entire body vibrating with barely contained energy. The moment he saw Marcus, his ears shot forward. "You ready to hunt?" Marcus asked. Titan's response was a bark that echoed through the hospital corridors, sharp, focused, lethal. They made it back to the airport in 12 minutes, sirens screaming. Marcus had stopped by evidence processing first, grabbing the blue suitcase that had become Lily's prison. He opened it in the back of the cruiser, letting Titan press his nose deep into the fabric. The dog inhaled once, twice. His pupils dilated, his lips curled back, and when he looked up at Marcus, there was something primal in his eyes. "I have her set, and I'm going to find her." "Track," Marcus commanded, snapping the lead onto Titan's vest. They entered the terminal like a storm, Marcus, Titan, Jenna, and officers Langford and Daniels. Passengers scattered as Titan surged forward, his nose low to the ground, weaving through the crowds with absolute precision. He didn't hesitate at the baggage claim. Didn't slow near the security checkpoint. He moved like an arrow released from a bow, straight and true, following an invisible thread that only he could perceive. "He's locked on," Jenna breathed, jogging to keep pace. "I've never seen him like this." "He knows what she did," Marcus said quietly, "and he won't stop until she answers for it." They pushed through the terminal exit, and the winter night hit them like a fist. 20 degrees, wind cutting through their jackets, snow beginning to fall in gentle drifts. But Titan didn't notice. His focus was absolute. He led them across the drop-off lanes, past taxis and shuttles, toward the massive parking structure that loomed against the dark sky. Level 3. The sign glowed overhead like a beacon. Titan's growl deepened as they entered the garage, the sound echoing off concrete pillars and metal beams. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, casting harsh shadows that turned every corner into a potential hiding place. "Weapons ready," Langford ordered. She could be anywhere. But Titan knew exactly where she was. He pulled Marcus deeper into the garage, past rows of parked cars, Hondas and Toyotas and SUVs covered in road salt and winter grime. His breathing changed, becoming faster, more urgent. His ears swiveled, tracking sounds Marcus couldn't hear. Then he stopped, dead still. Nose pointed toward a dark corner at the far end of the garage where a single sedan sat abandoned, its windows fogged, its license plate barely visible through the snow. Titan's hackles rose. His lips peeled back to reveal every tooth. And the sound that came from his throat wasn't a bark or a growl, it was a promise. "I found you." "That's her," Marcus whispered, drawing his weapon. Rebecca Clark, end of the line. Jenna circled left. Langford circled right. Daniels covered the rear. And Titan, loyal, unshakable Titan, stood at Marcus's side, waiting for the command that would end this nightmare. If you've ever felt that moment when justice is just seconds away, drop a balance scale in the comments. And if your heart is pounding right now, trust me, mine is too. Hit that subscribe button because the confrontation you've been waiting for is about to explode, and you do not want to miss this. Marcus took a breath, raised his weapon, and shouted into the cold night air. "Rebecca Clark, this is the police. Step out of the vehicle with your hands where we can see them." The garage held its breath. And then, slowly, the car door creaked open. But nothing emerged. The door hung open at an angle, interior light dead, revealing only darkness and the faint outline of an empty driver's seat. Snow drifted through the gap, settling on worn upholstery that looked like it hadn't been cleaned in months. "She's not in the vehicle," Langford hissed. "It's a decoy." Titan's growl intensified. His head swiveled left, then right, nostrils flaring as he recalculated. The scent was here, strong, recent, everywhere, but fractured. Like Rebecca had deliberately moved in circles to confuse any pursuit. "She knows we're tracking her," Marcus said quietly. "She's trying to buy time." Jenna swept her flashlight across the rows of vehicles, the beam cutting through shadows that seemed to shift and breathe. "This garage holds 300 cars. She could be hiding anywhere." "Not anywhere," Marcus corrected. "Somewhere she can see the exit. Somewhere she can watch us coming." Titan pulled forward, slower now, more deliberate. His training had kicked in. This wasn't a sprint anymore. This was a hunt through hostile territory where the prey was intelligent, desperate, and potentially armed. They moved as a unit through the concrete labyrinth. Every footstep echoed. Every car became a potential ambush point. Marcus's heart hammered against his ribs as they passed a minivan with fogged windows, a pickup truck with a tarp covering its bed, a luxury sedan with tinted glass so dark he couldn't see inside. Titan paused at each one, tested the air, then moved on. "She's leading us deeper," Daniels whispered. "Away from backup. Away from witnesses." "Good," Marcus said, his voice cold. "Then it's just us and her. No crowds. No collateral damage." They reached a junction where the garage split into two directions, one leading toward the stairwell, the other descending into a lower level marked long-term parking. Titan didn't hesitate. He turned toward the darkness of the lower level, his body language shifting from pursuit to something more primal. The hunt was ending. The corner was closing. The temperature dropped as they descended the ramp. The fluorescent lights down here were half dead, flickering in irregular patterns that made shadows dance like living things. Puddles of melted snow reflected the dying light, creating mirror images of the team as they advanced. "I don't like this," Jenna murmured. "Too many blind spots." Titan stopped suddenly, his entire body going rigid. His ears pinned back flat against his skull. The growl that rumbled from his chest was so low Marcus felt it through the leash before he heard it. "Contact," Marcus whispered into his radio. Titans locked on. Southwest corner, between the support pillars. They fanned out, weapons raised, flashlights probing the darkness. And there, wedged between a concrete pillar and an ancient Ford Taurus with flat tires, Marcus saw movement. A figure. Much. Trembling. Rebecca. She sat on the cold concrete, knees pulled to her chest, arms wrapped around herself like she was trying to hold her body together. Her hoodie had fallen back, revealing tangled hair and a face streaked with tears and mascara. In her shaking hands she clutched something, a photograph, edges worn soft from constant handling. Even from 15 feet away Marcus could see what it was. Lily. Smiling. Alive. Rebecca Clark, Marcus called out, his weapon steady. "Put down the photograph and show me your hands." She didn't move. Didn't acknowledge his voice. Just stared at that photo like it was the only real thing left in her world. Titan strained forward, every muscle coiled to spring, his focus absolute. But this time his growl held something different, not rage, not hatred. Pity. Because even a dog could see what Marcus was seeing. A woman who'd already lost everything, sitting in the dark, clinging to an image of something she'd never have. "I just wanted her to love me," Rebecca whispered, her voice breaking. "Is that so wrong? To want someone to love you?" Marcus's throat tightened. "You put a child in a suitcase, Rebecca. You left her to die." "No." The scream tore out of her, raw and shattered. "I was saving her. From Emily. From a mother who doesn't appreciate what she has." She clutched the photo tighter, knuckles white. "I would have loved her perfectly. I would have given her everything." "You would have killed her," Jenna said quietly. "In another 10 minutes, she would have suffocated." Rebecca's face crumpled. The photograph slipped from her fingers, fluttering to the wet concrete. And as it landed face up, Lily's smile bright and innocent in the dim light, something inside Rebecca broke. "I didn't mean to," she sobbed. "I didn't mean to hurt her. I just wanted to be somebody's whole world." If you've ever watched someone realize they've destroyed the one thing they loved most, type "broken" in the comments. And if you're torn between anger and heartbreak right now, you're not alone. Stay with me because what happens next will show you that some wounds can never heal. Marcus lowered his weapon slightly, his voice gentler. "Stand up, Rebecca. It's over." But as she raised her head, Marcus saw something in her eyes that made his blood run cold. Not surrender. Desperation. And desperate people did unpredictable things. Rebecca's hand moved toward her pocket. "Don't." Marcus's weapon snapped back up, his voice cutting through the garage like a whip. "Hands where I can see them. Now." But Rebecca's fingers kept moving, slow and deliberate, reaching into her hoodie. Titan lunged forward with a snarl that could have torn steel, held back only by Marcus's iron grip on the leash. "She's got a weapon," Langford shouted, taking aim. "Wait," Jenna screamed. Rebecca's hand emerged, not with a gun, not with a knife, but with a small, battered teddy bear. Worn from 1,000 hugs. One button eye missing. She held it against her chest like a shield, her whole body shaking. "This was hers," Rebecca whispered, tears streaming down her face. "Emily gave it to me when Lily was born. Said I could give it to her when she was older." Her voice cracked. "But Emily changed her mind. Took it back. Took everything back." Marcus slowly lowered his weapon, his heart hammering. Rebecca put the bear down. "We need to talk about this." "Talk?" She laughed, a broken, hollow sound. "I've been trying to talk for 3 years. But no one listens. Not the courts, not the therapists, not Emily." She clutched the bear tighter. "Do you know what it's like to hold a baby in your arms and feel complete for the first time in your life? To finally understand why you exist." "That wasn't your baby to hold," Jenna said gently. "She should have been." The scream echoed through the concrete chamber, bouncing off pillars and metal beams. "I'm the one who wanted children. I'm the one who planned for them, dreamed about them, prayed for them." Rebecca's face twisted with anguish. "But I can't. My body won't. And Emily who never even wanted kids, gets pregnant by accident and suddenly she's Mother of the Year." The raw pain in her voice made even Langford flinch. "When they put Lily in my arms that first time," Rebecca continued, her voice dropping to a whisper, "she looked at me. Really looked at me. And I swear to God she knew. She knew I was supposed to be her mother." Tears dripped onto the teddy bear. "But Emily took her away. Said I was too attached. Said I made her uncomfortable." "Because you tried to take custody," Marcus said quietly. "Because you showed up at her daycare. Because I loved her." Rebecca's voice broke completely. "Is love a crime? Is wanting to protect someone a crime?" "Putting her in a suitcase is," Jenna said, her own voice thick with emotion. "Rebecca, she almost died. Do you understand that? Another 10 minutes and—" "I know." Rebecca collapsed forward, sobbing into the concrete. I know. I heard her crying inside. I heard her little fists hitting the fabric. She looked up, mascara streaming down her face like war paint. But I couldn't turn back. If I turned back, I'd lose her forever. I thought if I could just get her somewhere safe, somewhere away from Emily, she'd understand. She'd love me." Titan's growl had stopped. He stood perfectly still, watching Rebecca with those amber eyes that seemed to see straight into broken souls. "She's 2 years old," Marcus said, his voice gentle but firm. "She doesn't understand betrayal or custody or obsession. She just knows she was cold and scared and alone in the dark." Rebecca's sobs turned to wails, the kind of grief that comes from a place so deep it has no bottom. "I destroyed her. I destroyed the only thing I ever loved." "Yes," Marcus said. "You did." The word hung in the air like a death sentence. Rebecca looked down at the teddy bear in her hands, then at the photograph of Lily still lying on the wet concrete. Slowly, carefully, she placed the bear on top of the photo, a final goodbye to a dream that had curdled into nightmare. "I'm ready," she whispered. "I'm ready for it to be over." Marcus stepped forward, pulling out his handcuffs. "Rebecca Clark, you're under arrest for kidnapping, child endangerment, and attempted murder." She didn't resist as he secured her wrists. Didn't flinch as he read her rights. Just stared at that photograph with empty eyes, watching Lily smile through the plastic evidence bag Jenna carefully slipped it into. "Will she remember me?" Rebecca asked as they led her toward the exit. Marcus paused, looked back at the woman who'd loved so desperately she'd destroyed everything. "I hope not," he said quietly. "If you've ever seen someone lose themselves to obsession and wondered where love ends and madness begins, comment, tragic. And if this chapter shattered your heart into pieces, you're exactly where I am. Hit subscribe because the final chapter will show you what healing looks like when everything's been broken." As they emerged from the garage into the falling snow, Rebecca looked up at the night sky one last time. Tell Emily I'm sorry, she whispered. Tell Lily, tell her I loved her. Even if I loved her wrong. Marcus didn't answer. Because some apologies could never be accepted. And some love was poison dressed up as devotion. The hospital corridor stretched endlessly before Emily Parker, each fluorescent light a reminder of how close she'd come to losing everything. Her flight from Seattle had been a nightmare, 2 hours of turbulence and terror, her phone clutched in white-knuckled hands, waiting for an update that could destroy her world. Mrs. Parker? A nurse appeared, clipboard in hand, face carefully neutral. Dr. Carr is waiting for you in the ICU. Emily's legs moved on autopilot, one foot in front of the other, her heart slamming against her ribs so hard she thought it might break through. Every step toward room 304 felt like walking toward a verdict she wasn't ready to hear. Marcus stood outside the door, still in his tactical gear, exhaustion carved into every line of his face. Beside him, Titan lay with his head on his paws, eyes fixed on the closed door like he was standing guard over something precious. Detective, Emily breathed, her voice barely functional. Is she? She couldn't finish. Couldn't say the word alive because speaking it might make the alternative real. Marcus's expression softened. She's in there. Dr. Carr is with her. Not alive. Not okay. Just in there. Emily's hand flew to her mouth, a sob trapped in her throat. I need to see her. Please, I need. The door opened and Dr. Carr emerged, her surgical mask pulled down, her eyes tired but kind. She looked at Emily for one long, terrible moment, and then she smiled. Your daughter is a fighter, Mrs. Parker. Emily's knees gave out. Marcus caught her, his strong hands the only thing keeping her upright as 3 days of fear and helplessness crashed over her like a wave. She's alive? Emily gasped. She's really alive? Core temperature stabilized at 98.6. Oxygen saturation at 98%. No signs of brain damage or permanent injury. Dr. Carr's voice wavered slightly. It's a miracle, honestly. Another 5 minutes in that suitcase and we'd be having a very different conversation. Emily pressed her face into her hands, her entire body shaking with relief so intense it felt like drowning. Can I see her? Please, I need to see her. She's sedated right now, Dr. Carr said gently. Her body needs rest after the trauma. But you can sit with her. Talk to her. She'll know you're there. Emily nodded, wiping her eyes with trembling hands. My sister Rebecca, is she? In custody, Marcus said quietly. She's not going to hurt Lily again. The words should have brought comfort, but instead they brought a fresh wave of pain. She loved her, Emily whispered. That's what makes this so impossible to understand. She really loved her. Love isn't always gentle, Dr. Carr said. Sometimes it's the most dangerous thing in the world. Emily took a shaky breath and pushed open the door to room 304. The sight nearly broke her. Lily lay in the center of a hospital bed that was far too big for her tiny frame, surrounded by machines that beeped and hummed their constant vigil. An oxygen cannula rested beneath her nose, and 4 lines snaked from her small arm. But her chest rose and fell in steady, beautiful rhythm, breathing, breathing, breathing. Baby, Emily whispered, crossing the room in 3 steps. She sank into the chair beside the bed, her hands hovering over Lily's body like she was afraid touching her might shatter the fragile miracle. Mama's here. Mama's here now. Lily didn't stir, her face peaceful in medicated sleep, but Emily could have sworn she saw her daughter's fingers twitch, a tiny acknowledgement that somewhere in the depths of rest, she'd heard her mother's voice. Emily pressed her forehead against the bed rail, her tears soaking into the hospital sheets. I'm so sorry, she breathed. I'm so sorry I wasn't there. I'm so sorry I didn't protect you. Behind her, the door opened softly. Titan padded in, Marcus at his side. The German shepherd approached the bed with reverence, his massive head lowering until his nose nearly touched Lily's hand. He whined, soft, heartbroken, protective. He hasn't left her side since the ambulance, Marcus said quietly. Every time the nurses tried to move him, he'd plant himself and refuse to budge. Finally, Dr. Carr bent the rules. Emily looked at Titan through her tears, at this dog who'd screamed at a suitcase when human technology had found nothing, who'd refused to accept that a child's life didn't matter as much as protocol. "You saved her," Emily whispered. "You saved my whole world." Titan's tail wagged once, gentle, understanding. If a dog's loyalty just made you believe in miracles, drop a folded hands in the comments. And if you're sitting here with tears on your face thinking about how close this came to ending differently, hit that subscribe button. Because Chapter 9 is going to show you what happens when a hero finally gets the recognition he deserves. Emily reached out, her hand resting on Titan's head while her other hand held Lily's tiny fingers. And in that moment, mother, child, and the dog who refused to let death win, 3 heartbeats synchronized into one rhythm. Alive, alive, alive. Outside, snow continued to fall, blanketing the world in quiet white. Inside room 304, Emily Parker kept her vigil, whispering promises to her sleeping daughter. "We're going home, baby. We're going home, and I'm never letting you out of my sight again." And somewhere in the depths of medicated dreams, Lily heard her mother's voice and knew she was safe. The first rays of morning light crept through the hospital window, painting room 304 in shades of gold and hope. Emily hadn't slept, hadn't even closed her eyes. She'd spent the entire night watching her daughter's chest rise and fall, counting each breath like a prayer answered. Titan hadn't moved either. The German shepherd lay on the floor beside the bed, his head resting on his paws, his eyes never leaving Lily's face. Every few minutes, his ears would swivel toward the monitors, listening to the steady beep that promised life continued. "You should rest," Dr. Carr had said around 3 in the morning. "She's stable. We'll call you if anything changes." But Emily couldn't leave. Wouldn't leave. Not when her daughter had spent hours alone in the dark, fighting for air, fighting to survive. Never again, she'd promised herself. Never again. At 6:47 a.m. Lily's fingers twitched. Emily's head snapped up, her hand tightening around her daughter's. "Lily? Baby, can you hear me?" The monitors beeped faster. Lily's eyelids fluttered, once, twice, and then opened. Those beautiful brown eyes, glazed with medication and confusion, focused slowly on Emily's face. For one terrible moment, Lily just stared, and Emily felt her heart stop with fear that her daughter wouldn't recognize her, that the trauma had stolen something precious. Then Lily's lips moved. "Mama." Emily's sob was somewhere between laughter and relief, a sound so raw it startled even her. "Yes, baby. Yes, it's Mama. I'm here. I'm right here." "Scared," Lily whispered, her voice hoarse and small. "Was so scared." "I know, sweetheart. I know." Emily carefully gathered Lily into her arms, mindful of the 4 lines and monitor wires. "But you're safe now. You're safe and I've got you." Lily's small arms wrapped around Emily's neck with surprising strength, and Emily felt her daughter's heartbeat against her chest, fast, alive, real. She buried her face in Lily's hair, breathing in the smell of hospital soap and something uniquely, perfectly Lily. "I love you," Emily whispered. "I love you so much. I'm never letting you go." They stayed like that for long minutes, mother and child, broken pieces finding their way back together. Then Lily pulled back slightly, her eyes widening as she noticed the massive dog lying beside the bed. "Doggy," she breathed. Titan's ears perked forward. His tail gave one tentative wag. "That's Titan," Emily said softly. "He's the one who found you. He's the reason you're here." Lily studied Titan with the serious concentration only toddlers possess, her small face tilted in thought. Then, slowly, she reached out her hand, the one with the 4 taped across it, toward him. "Good doggy," she said. "You were loud." Titan rose carefully, moving to the bedside with such gentleness it made Emily's throat tight. He rested his massive head beside Lily's hand, those amber eyes soft and watchful. Lily's fingers tangled in his fur, and she smiled, the first real smile since she'd woken. "You found me in the dark." Titan's tail wagged harder, and he let out a soft whine that sounded like agreement, like relief, like "I promised I wouldn't let you go." "He screamed at a suitcase," Marcus said from the doorway, his voice thick with emotion. "Refused to walk away even when we thought it might explode. He knew you were in there. Lily looked at Titan with something like wonder. You saved me? The dog nudged her hand gently, and Emily could have sworn she saw understanding pass between them. Child and guardian, survivor and savior. Can he stay? Lily asked, looking up at Emily with those big brown eyes. Please, Mama? Can Titan stay? Emily looked at Marcus, who nodded. Hospital rules might object, but I think we can make an exception. He can stay as long as you need him, Emily said, her voice breaking. Then she looked at Marcus, at this detective who'd trusted instinct over protocol. You both can. Lily shifted in her mother's arms until she could wrap one small arm around Titan's neck. The dog didn't move, didn't flinch, just accepted her embrace like it was the greatest honor he'd ever received. Thank you for not giving up, Lily whispered into his fur. Thank you for being loud. And in that moment, Emily understood something profound. Her family wasn't whole because Rebecca had been stopped. It was whole because a German shepherd named Titan had refused to accept that one small life didn't matter. Had refused to be quiet. Had refused to quit. We owe you everything, Emily said to Titan, her hand joining Lily's in his fur. Our whole world. Titan's tail wagged and he settled onto the floor beside the bed. Guardian, protector, hero. His vigil wasn't over. Wouldn't be over until Lily walked out of this hospital whole and safe. If a dog's loyalty just restored your faith in humanity, comment hero below. And if you're crying tears of joy right now, you're exactly where I am. Hit that subscribe button and share this story, because the world needs to remember that sometimes the greatest heroes walk on four legs and refuse to let go. As the morning sun filled room 304 with warmth and light, 3 heartbeats synchronized into perfect rhythm. Mother, child, and the dog who'd refused to let death win. Emily pressed a kiss to Lily's forehead, then reached down to stroke Titan's ears. You didn't just save her life, she whispered. You saved mine too. And Titan, the German shepherd who'd screamed at a suitcase when the world told him to be quiet, simply closed his eyes and rested. His job was done. His promise kept. His hero's reward complete. If this story touched your heart, please share it with someone who needs to believe in miracles today. Follow for more incredible true stories of courage, loyalty, and the unbreakable bonds that save lives. And remember, sometimes the greatest heroes are the ones who refuse to quit, even when the whole world tells them to walk away.